And they looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, but you are African descent. I said, true. But if you want to get technical, the only people who can call themselves African American are the first group of people who were brought over here. I said the only country that I know is the United States.
See, we've said that ourselves on this podcast. Like, it's divisive because unless you were born somewhere else and then came and became a citizen, then you're African American or Asian American or whatever. But if you were born and raised here, you're just American.
You're American. You know what? In Colorado Springs, I worked with a guy. He was from, where was Abdul from? Nigeria? Ghana. He was from Ghana. And born and raised there, came over, immigrated over here. He was an African American.
Right. Literally, by definition.
And you know what? You'd never hear him say that. He was an American. He was.
I knew a guy named Elvis.
Oh God, I remember Elvis. He was funny.
He came over from
Kenya, I think. Wasn't it? Yeah.
And he worked with me when I worked at the United Way, and he had grown up in Kenya, and he still would go back for several months at a time. He was the same way. He was so proud to call himself
an American.
He didn't want any other identifiers or label. He's like, I worked for that. You don't understand. It was a gift. I worked for it.
The bitch of it is the only people that want to add a hyphenated moniker to fucking American are people that were born here.
Yeah.
Because the people that have come here from other places and earned their citizenship, they are proud of it, and they should be.
Absolutely.
It's hard.
Like when Tiger, when his citizenship stuff is finished, you think he'll call himself a Mexican American? I guarantee you he won't.
No.
I think one of the issues is, there's two issues. One, I feel like race issues are it's what's the word? Trendy. If you talk about it, you're going to get clicks and views. And I feel like when people talk about it, especially in the political world or just whatever you want to call it, right? I think they know that it's going to bring attention to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think it's like a buzzword?
Yes, it's a buzzword.
Yeah, it's the trend.
Or the topic of the day.
Yeah, it's the cool thing to jump on.
Yeah. And then two, I think we're just making things up as we go, right? When segregation ended, I don't think anybody really truly had a plan.
Right.
Does that make sense? It was just like, okay, it's ended.
Now what?
Now what? And we're just making things up as we go. And we're trying to figure it out. I think we are afraid to have, sit down and actually have conversation with but you still have to remove the emotion out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think when you approach things with emotion and heightened emotion,
nothing gets accomplished.
Nothing gets accomplished at all.
Well, you can't hear each other. You can't hear what the other side is saying.
Well, and
even if you're saying the same thing.
Well, but the reason nobody wants to sit down and have a legitimate, substantive conversation is because there's fault on every side of almost every situation, right? And nobody wants to have that pointed out, and no side certainly wants to accept any fault. That every side wants to be 100% right, and that is almost never the case. Not ever in any situation.
Well, to me too, it's almost with any situation, you hear the extremes, both directions. That's who you hear. You don't hear the average person out there.
Mm-hmm. What they think,
because they're drowned out by the extremes on both ends.
Just like when the BLM movement started in 2014, 2015, and if you listened to them, if you listened strictly to them, you would think that there are armies of people going out hunting down black people every day, and that's bullshit. And anybody that says it is lying, But if you listen to the media and you listen to the people that are yelling the loudest, that's all you hear.
But on the other end, if you listen to the others, it's just like it's just like when they're demonized. You'd think every criminal is brown or black or, you know, I mean, it's easy to dehumanize people if you don't hear them, if you don't see them. And both sides, extremism is the problem.
Yeah, because on one side, you have, black people are getting hunted, and I've heard that, and it was bullshit when it was said, and it's bullshit now. And on the other side, you have everything sunshine and rainbows, and that's not true either. Well,
and you also have the, you know, I hear this a lot, and it's just bullshit. You have the black people are being hunted on one side, and then you have they trying to make it illegal to be a white man. I'm so sick of hearing that bullshit.
Or you'll have every cop is trying to kill everybody, and then there are no cops that are a problem. You know, and again, neither one of those are true.
Well, I can tell you this, and this doesn't have anything to do with the race issue, but I know someone who worked for the Sherwood Police Department. It's not the biggest town in central Arkansas, but it's in the metro area. And literally, he worked there for about a year and he left. They drilled it into their head every day, all the officers on that force, that everyone you come in contact with is guilty of something. You just have to figure out what it is.
That's bullshit.
So if you have that mentality about one thing, then that's probably going to drift into other.
Well, yeah, and you know, I mean, we know a guy who used to be a BB cop, and he was telling us one night that you don't know that if he pulls someone over, he's looking for any reason he can to search your car. I'm like, man, you can suck my ass. I ain't letting you search my fucking car.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's ingrained into you to look at everybody like that,
see, and that's a problem. But you know, those extremes on either side. If that's all we listen to, that's you know, there's a lot of gray area there. You know,
I have friends that are in. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no, you're fine. Go ahead.
I have friends that are in law enforcement on, like, there's sheriffs, and then there's I have friends that are detectives, probation officers, city attorneys. And one thing across the board when it comes to the feet on the ground police officers that are my friends, they say that one thing that they are taught is to make it home.
Oh yeah,
make it what?
Home. To make it home.
Oh,
so if it's between me and you, and I have to take you out, I'm going to take you out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I don't think we take into account, right, how dangerous that has to be. When you put on that uniform and you're patrolling the streets, because I mean, I've lived in some of the roughest places in Los Angeles, and I would say I would hate to have to patrol some of these neighborhoods.
Oh yeah, and I mean,
think we take into account how much, I guess you could say, it would be like post-traumatic stress.
Oh yeah,
well,
that these police officers have to face putting on that uniform
and
not even into some of these places.
Not even post. I mean, they have to keep that in the front of their mind, you know.
Well, that's why law enforcement has a pretty substantial suicide rate.
Oh yeah,
you know. But I've said that before, that these guys go out for not much more than minimum wage, and every call could be their last one.
You never know.
Yeah.
We've seen that here just in the state of Arkansas.
Oh,
I mean, how many cases have we had where they thought it was just a routine traffic stop and the officer winds up dead, or they wind up in a shootout and the suspect's dead? You know.
Yeah, like my cousin that's the EMT.
Oh yeah.
He and his partner went on a call in Pine Bluff.
An EMT, an ambulance coming to save your ass.
Yeah, and he and his partner went out there. The stupid ass woman didn't say that it was a domestic abuse issue.
Yeah, because if she had, police would have been there first to clear.
Yeah,
so they wouldn't have been able to respond until it was clear.
Right, and so they get there and get the woman to the ambulance, and her punk ass boyfriend or whatever comes out and shoots both of them 3 times. Yeah, he got shot in the chest, in the pelvis, and in the abdomen.
Well, and I don't know if you know, but
he's recovering nicely.
In North Little Rock here a couple of years ago, there was he was actually a volunteer because it was kind of on the edge of the city limits. But he was a first responder, heard the call, and he came. And it was the same kind of situation. It was a domestic thing. And everybody kind of knew this guy because he'd owned a car lot in the area forever. I don't know if he flipped his lid. I don't know what was going on. He ends up shooting and killing that firefighter who was responding due to a call of somebody injured.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a dangerous job, and sometimes I don't think we give them credit for that. But at the same time, Chloe, you were talking about, I work with a lot of police officers. 98% of them are great people. There's 2%. There's 2%. I'm not saying they're evil. They might just be dicks. There's people out there, they're just dicks. I mean, that's,
But it's like that across literally every demographic.
Oh, it is.
No matter what the profession is. I mean,
but if your surgeon's a dick or your airline pilot's a dick,
let me tell you what.
The stakes are higher.
Most surgeons are dicks.
But you know what I mean.
But yeah, I mean, you and having worked in a hospital, trust me, I've talked to some of these guys, and there are some fucking doctors out there that are not. Let's just say they didn't graduate at the top of their class. I had this one guy call the help desk one of the 2 weeks that I had to work that worthless fucking thing, and I was walking him through resetting his password. I told him what the password was, told him exactly what to do. He couldn't manage it. This is a younger guy.
Oh, Lord.
And you know what he said to me? I went to school to be a doctor, not work on computers. It's like, dude, if you can't type in what I fucking told you to, where I told you to type it, you don't need to be working on any fucking body. You need to be at the unemployment office.
Yeah, really.
I mean, holy fuck, man.
You can't come next to me with a scalpel, son.
No shit. Stethoscope or anything.
What we're going to do is root around in here.
Yeah, no shit. It's like, my God. But
That's funny. I think the state of where we are now, it's really sad. I don't like the term I don't see color, because I think we all do, right?
Well, and I think if you say that, you discount, like, just being different isn't bad. Like, having different ethnicities, that's a good thing. I mean, it's like, why make us all homogenous? We're not.
Right. We all come from different, let's just look at it from a worldview, right? We all come from different places, and we all like different beliefs, foods. Like, culture is a thing, right? And I feel like we're getting into a place where we're almost intentionally segregating ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. And there's
really, really sad.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I tell my friends that are, they're activists, and they think that I'm absolutely crazy. But I tell them all the time, like, at the end of the day, it's not going to be a black versus white thing. It's not going to be a black person versus a Mexican thing, or white versus Chinese. It's going to be about humanity at the end of the day, right? If you look at things like global warming, if you look at how the economy is about to be like automated in the next 10 years, and then there's going to be so many jobs that are missing, it's going to be about humanity, and the color of your skin should be the last of your worries. Because you're going to wake up, and it's going to be like, holy macaroni, where did the time go? Right?
Yep.
It's what it is. Like, my great aunt, she passed away last year. She was 92. And she's from Little Rock, Arkansas. And she
what was her name?
Jewel Petty.
Like, I know everybody in Little Rock. I don't know.
That's why I look at you like.
I still have some family there that I've never ever met. And she would always tell me the story. Now, her at 92, she saw everything. If you really think about it, being born in 1929, she saw everything. She even saw COVID. She knew what it was. She said, that's of the devil. I said, Auntie. But when she moved to LA, the train ride here, she was pregnant with one of her daughters, right? And she would always tell me how that was her first train ride, and how she saw her first Chinese woman.
Wow, like, seriously, that was the first Chinese person that she had...
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And she said, that she was pregnant. She already had one baby, but she was pregnant